Hello, hello, hello. This is Talking Manchester United, a United Stand podcast with myself, Paul Gardner. And joining me, as always, is Ash Burns. Ash, how are you, my friend?
Bored. Yeah, I'm not bad,
You
mate.
can swear. We've sworn enough times on here now.
Yeah, I'm bored. I'm bored shitless, to be fair.
Whoa,
Whoa,
whoa.
hang on. What's
Easy with the language.
I just want the football back. No, but I'm all right. Yeah, still going, fighting strong. What about yourself?
Yeah, bored as well,
Yeah.
actually, to be honest. There was earlier in the week or just after last weekend when we were, after the last podcast, actually, when we were talking about, with it being an international break, I was going to watch England. I didn't, by the way. Just thought I'd get that in there. But, I thought to myself, well, I've still got, the Formula One to look forward to. Well, that wasn't this weekend either. That's next weekend.
Yeah.
So it came to Friday and I thought, right, well, what am I going to do then? But no, football's back soon. I'm going to watch the next England game. I've got to watch some football. It's just, I miss it.
What about the women's football? Manchester United women 12-0 against Aston Villa.
Yeah, I've seen that. I thought, bloody hell.
A great result. Yes, it's worth getting 5 goals. Smashing. Fair play.
Yeah. I just seen a video a moment ago as well. Salford City.
Oh, yeah.
They were 4-0 down after 88 minutes.
Yeah.
And they drew 4.
Oh, yeah, that's fight feel. That is fight feel. We could do with some of that in the first team.
Yeah, we certainly could. So we will do a preview of the Watford game coming up this weekend, and then we will go over to Twitter and discuss the tweets that people have been tweeting us this afternoon. So it's going to be a short one today, but we kind of knew that, didn't we? We said at the end of the Burnley podcast, we said, look, it's going to be a couple of short podcasts because of the international break. And, people just don't have to listen to us rumble on for so long then, do they?
Exactly.
So there's got to be a positive in there somewhere. Well, let's crack on with the Watford preview then. This is your territory, Ash, so take it away.
It is indeed, yeah, Watford. And I think it's going to be an interesting one because Watford sit in the lofty spot of 3rd place in the league, one of only 3 teams to have won every game so far this season. And it's an interesting one because the 3 of the 4 teams that they've played already this season, we've played. So it'd be an interesting gauge to see sort of how we match up against them and previous sides that they've played and we've played. So yeah, they won 2-0 against Brighton, 3-1 against Burnley, 2-1 against Palace, 2-0 against Reading, which was in the League Cup, and then last time out, 2-1 win against Spurs, which is a very good result for them. So it's going to be an interesting one. How do you see it going?
Well, I've been thinking about this, and when you like Watford, you think it should be a 3-point game when you're Man United, or probably anyone in the top half, really.
Yeah.
You'd be thinking, this should be a 3-point game, but I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure. I know we're only 4 games in, or whatever it is, but you can't even say that Watford haven't had a real test because they just beat Spurs at home, who beat us. What was the score? 3-0, I think it was. Spurs beat us.
Yep.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? So it's not like they haven't been tested either. And they're playing some decent football.
Yeah.
So it's certainly not going to be a walk in the park, that's for sure. I do think that it's going to be a battle.
Yeah. I've got to agree with you. I think with the style of football that they're playing, which is probably a lot more stylish than we've played at times this season, and also you look at the teams that they've beaten, already, and we've struggled against this season, and they've been fairly comfortable against them. Only conceded 2 goals in the league so far, 1 against Burnley and 1 against Spurs. So they're solid at the back. They're decent going forward. They're a consistent team out. It looks like Roberto Pereira's finally starting to show his worth. I was a big fan of him when he was at Juventus anyway, so he was a great signing for them, and he's started to pick up the pace for them and put in some decent performances. So, they've got some decent fullbacks as well who are putting in shifts, and I think our fullback situation has only been made worse with the news of Luke Shaw being injured, and he'd be out for a couple of weeks now. So questions are going to be raised to who's coming in and are they going to be able to deal with the pressure being thrown straight in. I can't see it being too much of an issue, but it's just disappointing again with the form that Shaw had hit now that he has to go out again. So I've picked out, obviously, as usual, 5 danger men. How many have you got for Watford? Hopefully more than the last game, which was 1, was it?
Yeah, I picked out just 1 in the last game. Well, none of their players really posed a threat, did they? So
Exactly,
you can't
you
really
were
say I
right.
was wrong to only pick out 1.
Yeah.
Not to blow my own trumpet or anything, but
Yeah.
you know, respect.
Yeah. Respect, yeah. Oh, God, here we go.
I've picked out 3 players.
Okay.
No, 4. Sorry.
Right, okay.
Do you want me to go first then? Yeah.
Yeah, you crack on.
So obviously got Troy Deeney in there.
Yeah.
He's bagged himself 2 goals and an assist in the opening 4 games.
Yep.
He's strong. He's powerful. So we know he can pose a threat. And with our centre backs a bit all over the place at the moment, you just never know. I've got in there Jose Holebas, their left back.
Yeah.
4 assists in 4 games from left back. It's quite something. He's also got a goal to his name as well. So we know that he can pose a threat. Obviously, Roberto Pereira, as you've just mentioned, 3 goals as well. He's their top scorer, 3 goals in 4 games, and Daryl Janmat as well. He has not quite had the same effects with the team as Jose Holebas, but we do know again that he can pose a threat. And with our wing back situation looking a bit dodgy at the moment, Valencia is going to have a hard time against Holebas, and obviously I think Ashley Young will probably come in up against Janmat. So Janmat's got some pace. So
he was very good against Spurs as well, Janmat. I watched bits of that game. Yeah, I watched bits of that game. He was very good.
So that's the 4 players that I've listed anyway, and I think those 4 could really cause us some problems.
Yeah, I've got three of those. I've got Deeney, Pereira, and Janmat. I was tempted to put Holebas in, and I didn't know he bagged 4 assists, so I probably would have over Janmat, but I put Janmat in because, as I said, I watched parts of that Spurs game, and he was very, very good. I've also got Gray in there as well. I think he can pose a threat with his pace and his power. And I've also got, which is an odd one, is De La Feu. I don't know how much he's played, but we know he's got quality. We know he's got pace. And I said, as you rightly said, with our wing-back situation, you never know. If they put some decent wingers on, we could be in trouble. So that's the danger, men. So looking at the state of our squad at the moment, obviously massive blow again, as I said earlier, with Luke Shaw going out at left back. So you said Ashley Young will probably come in. I can see that happening. Centre back situation, I don't think anyone really knows who's going to play, do they? In that back 4. Same can be said about the midfield. Who have you got in your 11?
This is my prediction. And to be fair, I think it's probably the same team I would put out as well.
Okay.
So I've gone for Bailly and Smalling.
Yeah.
Centre back pairing. You've seen Bailly come on for the last few minutes against Burnley. I think it was Burnley.
Yeah.
So obviously he's fit. He's ready to play. I don't think he's picked up any injuries since then. And with Troy Deeney bullying the defenders, I think Mourinho is probably going to want to play his 2 strongest, biggest centre backs. I think Bailly and Smalling have got the edge over Lindelof.
Yeah.
So I think we'll see those 2 start in the centre. Valencia at right back. There is some talk of Diego Dallo coming into the squad, coming in against Watford. He obviously won't start the game. He may be on the bench. I'd like to see him play.
Yeah.
But I think when you're coming up against Holebas, who's on form, I think Mourinho would prefer to have Valencia in there.
Yeah.
And then at left back, obviously, it's going to be Ashley Young. I can't imagine him putting Darmian over there or anybody else. Ashley Young, we know he had a good spell last season.
Yeah.
He was getting a lot of praise from us, from the media, from everybody last season. Earned himself an England call-up. So we know we've got a good backup in Ashley Young. So no problems with him coming in as a replacement for Shaw. Obviously, whether or not, I think, actually, I've seen a tweet about Shaw and Young, so we'll come to that later on. But I think it will be Young that comes in at left back. So that's my back 4. Obviously, David De Gea in goal.
Yeah.
Midfield. Okay, so I've gone for Matic.
Yeah.
I think we'll probably see him slot into a back 3 as well at times.
Yeah.
Which isn't something that I thought up, in my own head. It was something that I heard I think it was for the Burnley game.
Yeah.
There was some talk about him dropping back into defence, and I think we'll probably see something like that again. And then I've put in Pogba and Fred. Now, I think Pogba will play. I mean, until he has a really bad run, we can't really drop him because we know what he can do when he's on form. I would like to see Pereira get some more minutes, but if you've got Pogba and Fred and Matic, I don't know. Maybe I'd prefer to put Pereira in over Matic, but I think Matic will start. So Matic, Fred, and Pogba, and then my front three, I'm going with Lukaku, Sanchez, and Rashford.
Ooh.
Rashford's he played well for England.
Yeah.
I didn't watch the game, but I've reading up on it. Apparently, he shone above everybody else in the team. And with the little clip of him in training, I don't know. I just got a feeling that he might get picked. So that's my 11.
It's interesting because as I said, Rashford, he seems to be the opposite of Raheem Sterling, in a way that Raheem Sterling always performs for City, but very rarely performs for England, and then Rashford's the complete opposite. He's very inconsistent for us, but seems to do the business when it comes to England. Interesting.
Like Pogba in France, then.
Yeah, exactly. It is interesting team. There's only one name that is different on the team sheet, which is interesting. So I've gone again. Yeah, it's weird. Great minds and all that. I've gone for, obviously, De Gea in goal. Exactly the same back four. Valencia, Smalling, Bailly, and Young. Exactly the same midfield. Matic, Pogba, and Fred. And I've gone with Lukaku up front, Sanchez on the left, and I've picked Jesse Lingard instead of Rashford. So it's like almost opposite of what we did.
Yeah,
was it last week
yeah.
or something like that? So that's the only one that's
I
going to
was
change.
right last time. So
you were, yeah.
Yeah, let's hope I'm right again.
Yeah, so
that's rubbing salt in the wound, really, isn't it?
it is. Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah. Still 3-2. Still 3-2 to me. Just thought I'd put that in there. So yeah, prediction. What's the score going to be?
Well, I think. Do you know what? I've got a feeling. That's
terrible.
I've got a feeling there's going to be some goals in this game.
Oh, okay.
I've got a feeling. Yes, Watford are averaging 2 goals a game. They put 2 past Spurs, whose defence is pretty solid. Let's be honest. I think they will get 1 or 2 against us, but I do think that we will show some fight and some spirit again in this game.
Okay.
Do you know what? I'm going to push the boat out here.
12-11.
I'm going to say the United win.
Yeah.
I'm going to say 3-2.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to say 3-2 away at Watford.
Interesting. I like it. I like your optimism. I've gone with a sort of a more savoury 1-1. That's what I've gone for.
What, sorry?
A 1-1.
1-1, okay.
Yeah, I'm hoping we're going to win, but I don't know. It's Watford are in form. It's away. It's at Watford, so I don't know. And it depends on how our midfield turns up, how our defence turns up, and yeah, I like your optimism, but I've gone for 1-1.
Yeah, I think it's going to go. It'll be one of those games where Watford will go 1-0 up.
Yeah, probably.
We'll equalise. Watford will go 2-1 up.
Yeah.
We'll equalise, and then it'll be a scrappy last 20 minutes.
Yeah.
We'll get the winner.
Fellaini off the bench winner. Oosh.
Fellaini off the bench. Yeah. Back post, modded it down.
Runs, rips off his afro. Brilliant. Interesting.
I don't know why. We get these games now and again in the season, don't we?
Yeah.
Where there's like 5 or 6 goals, and I think this is going to be it. I got a feeling that this is going to be it again away at Watford.
I'll take that. I might even stick a bet on that and then blame you if it doesn't come in. That's fine.
Blame me if you want. My bank account can be affected.
Good. Well, that's it for the Watford preview.
Right, over to Twitter then.
Over to Twitter. So yeah, as usual, the tweet went out this afternoon, recording the podcast. What would you like us to discuss? Top of the shop then, the bearded man, Mr. Andrew Southwick. Andrew. He says, maybe it's just me, but looking back on that Burnley game, and I did rewatch it.
You, Andrew.
You what?
I said, yeah, it's just you, Andrew.
Just you. Looking back on the Burnley game, and I did rewatch it. I didn't really notice anything special from that we did. We beat one of the poorest form teams, like we should have. My question is, why is everyone so hyped about that when we should be beating them?
We're just going back to what I said in the preview podcast of that game. It wasn't a game that was electrifying. it didn't get us on the edge of our seats. Wasn't fantastic. But one of the things I did say, or the thing I did say, was that it was a professional performance, because that was off the back of the horrible defeat, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was off the back of that. We were all over the. No. Hang on.
Spurs. It was off the back of the Spurs defeat. Yeah.
Off the back of the Spurs defeat. Yeah. Where our defence was just all over the place, and then before that, that game against Brighton, 2 games where we, there were problems against Spurs. We fought, and it was a good battle, but we just fell asleep in defence, and it led to goals being conceded. So the thing about the Burnley game was the professionalism and the fact that everyone just kept it simple. They united as a team, they played as a team, and got back to basics. Basically, I know it sounds stupid to say that when you're Manchester United, let's get back to basics, but sometimes that's what you've got to do. And I think that was why everybody was so pleased with it, because everyone just united, the fans, the players, the manager, the whole atmosphere around that game was just something to be very, very happy, very proud about, in my opinion. So I think that's probably what the hype was, more than the fact that, more than the performance itself, as in, it wasn't that special, but I think it was the occasion and the manner in which we did it.
Yeah, bang on. I think it was, well, I don't want to use the term steadying the ship, but in a way, because of everything, the media hyped everything up. The media were loving it that we lost 2 games in a row. We're looking a bit poor. Players apparently have been reported were a bit restless. The manager obviously losing his head with the media, as he should have done as well. So I think, as you rightly said, I think it was just putting everything to bed, getting back on track, steadying the ship, and just continuing on and plodding along and getting back to winning ways. I think it was more so than the performance. Although I do think there was a couple of very good performances. Thought Luke Shaw was great. Thought Lukaku was brilliant. So yeah, I think it was just one of those. It wasn't just sort of celebrating Burnley as such, beating Burnley, but yeah, as we both said, just getting back on track.
Absolutely.
Matthew McFadden, when Luke Shaw returns from his injury, do you see him coming back into the starting 11, or will Mourinho go back to prioritising Young? The guy bounced back from a possible amputation. He's got the mentality to come back from anything, and it should be in the first 11.
Honestly, my first thought would be, once Luke Shaw's fit again, he will come back into the team. I do think that now. The way that Mourinho's spoken about him since, in the media recently, the way that Mourinho put his arm around him after the Spurs game, just all the praise he's been getting from the manager and what we see on the pitch as well. I just genuinely think that Luke Shaw has turned a corner. I think that Mourinho also believes that Luke Shaw has turned a corner. Luke Shaw said himself that him and Mourinho had a chat before the season started about what he expects from him.
Yeah.
So I do genuinely think that Luke Shaw would, in normal circumstances, come back straight back into that starting 11. I do believe that. I really do. However, it all depends on how well Ashley Young plays. Because if Ashley Young steps in for the next 2 or 3 games and suddenly, I don't know, rocks up with a couple of goals and a couple of assists and whips some beautiful balls into the box, then all of a sudden everyone's thinking, bloody hell, Ashley Young's doing well.
Yeah.
Probably shouldn't drop him. That could happen. But in a normal situation where he comes in and plays average, then yeah, Luke Shaw should definitely come back into the fold. But it all depends. It all depends on how well Young plays. Because let's be honest, if Young plays brilliant and he's creating chances, he's creating goals, scoring goals, because we know he can,
yeah,
then we would be pretty silly to want him benched.
Yeah.
And you know that there will be fans that will.
Oh, yeah. Regardless. You can score that trick every game and fans have won him benched.
Yeah.
I genuinely don't think I can add anything to that. Everything on there. Yeah.
You go first on the next one then.
Okay, fair enough. Good. So next one is Redhead Cartoons. Thank you for your question, and done another sort of personalised cartoon for us. He says, will Fellaini start? Will Jose play 3 or 4 at the back? And then on a lighter note, whose goal celebration dances are better, Pogba or Lingard? And he's given us a little sort of cartoon drawing of Pogba and Lingard dressed as peacocks, which I can see sort of where the analogies come from then. Doing a little dance. Have they got chicken feet? Or peacock feet? That's quite amusing.
Yeah.
I like that. Like some of that redhead cartoons. Will Fellaini start? Do you know what? I don't think so. I can see, obviously, I think Burnley last game, I think they're known for a little bit more physicality, and they're, although you wouldn't have known that from looking at that game, they were flopping around like dead fish everywhere. But yeah, I don't think he'll play Fellaini. I think he'll want a little bit more mobility, a little bit more speed in the midfield, because as well as Watford have been playing, we want to counteract that and move the ball better and quicker ourselves. So I think he probably will start with Fred. I'm hoping so anyway. And will he play 3 or 4 at the back? I think with our situation, I'm assuming Phil Jones is still out. Lindelof is looking inconsistent again. I think he's got to stick with 4 at the back at the moment, especially with Young going out. That's another defender which is injured. I think he's got no choice but to play 4 at the back. But as you said, Paul, he might play Matic in that holding midfield position, who can drop back into the centre of defence to make that sort of like a 3 or a 5, if you will. So I think we're going to be quite flexible with our formation as we go forward, given our injury problems and stuff in defence. So it'll be interesting, but yeah, 4 at the back and no Fellaini is what I'm hoping.
Yeah, I would agree, absolutely. I don't think Fellaini will start. We were saying, weren't we, last season, when the contract talks were going on, when he was refusing to sign a contract or was holding out for more money, whatever it was.
Yeah.
I think we came to the agreement. Well, actually, I think I was adamant I wanted him to leave, and you may have been as well. It may have been someone else who said, "Look, as long as he's not starting games week in, week out, then fair enough. We can probably live with it." And I think also we said as well, if he doesn't leave, then it frees up funds for players in a different position, i.e. centre back, which the board didn't want to fork out for. Otherwise, we probably could have been playing 3 at the back. So I do think that Fellaini won't start, and I don't think he'll start many games. I think he'll just be used as an impact sub as and when needed. Because let's be fair, as an impact sub, he's actually been all right this season. He's not been poor. He's not made any catastrophic mistakes, giving away penalties. Although we got to play Everton yet, so let's not jump there. Let's not get too carried away. But yeah, 4 at the back definitely, because of the injuries to Phil Jones, leaves us a bit light. But I do like these cartoons. I do like these drawings. They're really good. I think we should probably feature them somehow, in some way. If Redhead Cartoons is happy for us to do that, even if it's obviously we can retweet them, but they're really good. I do like them.
They are good. In the Fellaini situation, I mean, I've always been adamant that obviously I don't see him as a Manchester United player in terms of quality, but as you said, he's not done bad. I thought he was great against Burnley. I thought he was one of the best players on the pitch, and I've always said that if Jose is adamant on keeping him, I'm not fussed as long as he's played as an impact substitute, because I've always retained the thought that that's why Jose Mourinho is ahead, in my opinion, of the likes of Klopp and Pochettino, because his willingness to adapt. I mean, as much as you can talk up, Spurs and Liverpool and being fantastic, the reality of it is they finished behind us last season in the league over 38 games. So you can't say that they were better, in the league last season, because they weren't. And I think it's in situations, in regards to Fellaini, that Mourinho was a better manager in that way. I mean, you look at Pochettino and you look at Klopp. Yes, they play some great football, some attractive football, but if it's not working for them, they've got nowhere to go. They're not really adaptive sort of managers. Where you look at Jose Mourinho and he tailors his sides to each individual team, and if things aren't working, he's not afraid to change the system. He's not afraid to change our style of play. And I think that's what sets him apart from a lot of managers in world football, his ability to adapt and change to different systems and different styles. So if we're keeping Fellaini just for that, I don't mind him, but I don't want to see him obviously start week in, week out.
No.
Matthew McFadden, again, you've popped up. This is unrelated in regards to the Watford game, but if we were able to sell Pogba right now, how much money do you think we'll get for him? I'd say about 100 million, maybe a tad less.
I think that's what we should be pushing for.
Yeah.
Around that sort of figure. I mean, he's been consistent, but he's still young. He's still got his best years ahead of him.
Yeah.
I think £100 million for Pogba would be a good investment for any team.
Yeah.
That can afford it, obviously.
100 million, yeah, maybe a little bit. I don't know, because World Cup winner, he's coming up to his prime. Maybe in a bit, in a different system, it could have worked. I don't know. Would I sell him if a team offered us 150 million in January? I'd snap their hand off. That sounds horrible.
I wouldn't.
No?
No, because not yet anyway. Because look, we know what he's capable of. If he can, I mean, to be honest, I think his mind's already out the door anyway with some of the things he's been saying. But if he could just get his head down and just concentrate on the football, he could be brilliant.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. That tweet did my head in, what he said before. Really did my head in. Did you see it? The one about good international break, can't wait for the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, that's fine. You know, he likes playing for his country. But, I don't really blame him for that tweet. Nobody would be batting an eyelid about that tweet if he was playing well for United.
It's the fact that he's not playing.
Yeah.
And he doesn't, it's not about Pogba. Let's move on. All right, I'll be here all night. Patrick McChrystal, he says, why does Mourinho continue to refuse to play Alexis on the right and let him have a free roaming role like he does with Lingard and start Martial, Rashford on the left? Also, that way he wouldn't get in the way of Pogba going forward, which is clear he does by the heat maps, etc.
Alexis Sanchez on the right. I mean, when he signed or just before he signed, I think we were saying quite a lot. You know, he would been playing on the right.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people expected that. I want to see that. I mean, I think he has played one game on the right, near enough when he started playing for us.
Yeah.
Didn't play too well out there, to be fair. But then again, hasn't played that well very often on the left.
Yeah.
But no, I do agree with you, Patrick. I would like to see him play on the right. So, you know, we can put a Martial or a Rashford on the left. But then maybe I'm sure we'll see it again at some point this season. You never know, you might even see it. Like I've gone for Rashford, Lukaku, and Sanchez in my predicted lineup. I've actually put Rashford on the right, but you never know. You might, well, if Rashford does play, and Sanchez is playing as well, we may well see Sanchez play on the right because they may switch, which wingers quite often do. During games, they do tend to switch sides just to mix it up a little bit. So we might even see that if Rashford does play.
Oh, I could have been so sly and not said anything, but I've just remembered Rashford got sent off in the last game.
Oh, shit.
I could have got away with that and taken the points. But I'll let you change your prediction. I just remembered when you saying about Rashford, I was like, he headbutted Bardsley in the last game. He's got a 3-match ban.
Yeah.
So there you are. You're welcome, Mr. Gardner. You may change your prediction.
Well, it's going to be Lingard then, I suppose.
We've got the same team. Don't worry.
The same team.
Yeah, don't worry. You pick Lingard and I'll pick Martial. Because I was toying with the idea of Martial anyway. So,
well, aren't you a gentleman just because you're winning? You're taking pity on me, aren't you?
Well, I'll expect it when I'm 16-4 down later on in the season. You be nice.
Yeah,
there we are.
Line goes round and all that.
Yeah. Thank you, Patrick. Yeah, I mean, his best years at Barcelona came on the right-hand side. I think he played off the right, most of the time. I think he could, we've seen how well he can cross the ball. I mean, you only have to look at the Burnley game when he whipped that cross in for Lukaku. And I think if he plays a little bit wider, I mean, look at the deliveries. He could, beat a man down the right-hand side and whipping the ball for Lukaku. I think it could be really good, but all depends on Mourinho. I think he likes Sanchez on the left where he can cut in and take a shot and cause problems. But yeah, I'd much rather him on the right. And we've seen the likes of Martial and Rashford, perform and do well down the left, especially Martial in flashes over the last couple of seasons. So, I mean, Willie, I don't know. I'd like him to as well. So I'm with you on that one. And then finally, Mitch Carlson, love everything I've seen from Fred so far. Do you think he could maybe solve our problems wide right in a 4-3-3?
I honestly don't know because I don't know if he's actually ever played wide right in a 4-3-3. Now, when you say wide right, I'm guessing you mean in the front three because the three midfield is usually quite narrow in a 4-3-3 system because obviously you've got your wide front players and then obviously your fullbacks. No?
Maybe a wider sort of midfield in a 3-man. I don't know.
No, I suppose you could. But I sort of think that we tend to play more of a narrow midfield.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think I'd probably prefer to see Fred just stick into his normal position in the midfield three, playing slightly narrow, but on the right side of it.
Yeah. I don't. To be honest, I don't really mind where we play Fred. I just like to see him get more game time. I know he was obviously taken out of the team for Fellaini against Burnley. Luckily, it paid off, and I thought Fellaini was very good against Burnley. But I like his tenacity. That's one thing that I knew he was energetic, and I knew he put himself about, but I didn't know he was as tenacious as he is. I mean, that's what we've seen, from him this season. He's not shy of a tackle. He presses high. He chases balls. I come out wrong, but he's been quite decent. I mean, I think, did I read somewhere that he's got the best passing ratio to accuracy to speed or something in the league? Obviously, only 3 or 4 games in, so it's not a very good judge of of where we're at. But I think he was above the likes of De Bruyne and who else, Fabinho and all that. So it's nice to see. He's obviously Brazilian, so he's got the talent, he's got the technique, and he's got a little bit of bite in him as well, which is great. Because South American players sometimes they come to the league and they're not as physical as you'd like them to be. So yeah, it's a great start for him. I'd like to see him in the team more. And again, it's just getting that balance of midfield around him. Obviously, Pogba's always going to be the big factor. I think people saying that he needs players around him, he needs this around him. As much as that is true, good players perform regardless. So it'll be interesting to see who gets played with him, how well he performs, and I think it'll be a good test once we start playing in the Champions League as well, and start getting that. What is it? Wednesday, Saturday, Wednesday, Sunday, whatever it is. You've got more games. I think we'll see him feature more as well because of the rotation. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how he copes, and I hope he is a mainstay in the team.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we brought him for his, dynamism and creativity. We need to see that, and for us to see that, he needs to play games. And I think he'll be brought back into the team again soon, and I think he will cement his place in that midfield. He has to really.
Yeah.
I think that wraps it up then.
That is it. That is it. No, that's it.
Excellent. Well, as always, thank you all for listening. It was another short one this week, but it's back to normality next Monday when we are celebrating a 3-2 victory over Watford.
I'll take it.
I hope. Well, I'd prefer a 3-0, obviously, but I think it's going to be packed full of goals, which is what the neutral would love to see. So unless you've got anything else to add, Ash, then do you want to give out your Twitter details?
Yeah, nothing for me. Yes, at Ashboyo, ASHBOIO.
And you can follow myself as well. It's at Paul Gardiner LP. Follow our podcast account at United Stand Pod. That's the account we use to obviously share the podcast and obviously get you involved in giving us some talking points as well. Ask us any questions you like, really. Also follow the main United Stand account at United Stand MUFC for the video content with Mark Goldbridge, the legend that is Mark Goldbridge. And then obviously VanCam, we do promote this every week as well because it's absolutely brilliant. Get over to YouTube and search VanCam. Kev Ashford. Almost said Kev Goldbridge then.
Kev Goldbridge.
Kev Ashford. So get over to there and search VanCam. We are also on YouTube as well, so you can listen to us on there if you prefer to. Like, subscribe, comment, give us your thoughts, get involved. What do you think of the team lineups that we've gone for? Is anyone that you would pick different? Get involved. Ash, nothing else to add, no?
Nope, nothing from me.
Then we'll end it there. Thank you all for listening. We'll be back next week.